What's going on, everybody? Matt in the Hat here for episode number 2 of Throat Punch Thursdays. As you can see, I'm wearing a different hat today. This has the patch of the 82nd Airborne, where I was stationed for almost 3 years. This video series is new, typically controversial, and some of you saw last week where was the pilot episode was trying to convey passion, and it just turned into a rant with a lot of cussing involved, and wasn't my finest moment, and wasn't really what I was after. What I'm after with this video series is truth. Controversial, no holds bar truth. For everybody that's coming in here, if you would share this out, this is going to be an episode that is going to be controversial. I really look forward to doing this episode. Talked with a number of people, but before doing this, doing my research. So what initially sparked me to do this episode, and I've tagged the individual into this, is Patrick Bet-David's video that he used to get attention. What the video was, he showed a 1 minute 40-some second clip of him going into a gun store, buying that is the AA, buying a semi-automatic rifle in 19 minutes. Now, what I love about this video is, sorry, I'm trying to adjust the light here so y'all can see me. What I love about this video is he is a genius the way he set this up. I love Patrick Bet-David. I love what he does. I love his content, his information that he puts out, that he's not afraid to talk about controversial topics. And for that reason, that's what caught my attention and sparked me to want to do a video about it. Now, here's the thing. This 1 minute, I think it's 43 second video, is a small version of the actual video that's not quite 20 minutes. But what he does in this video is he gets your attention and gets you to click on the entire video. Now, I saw this video while I was at work, so I clicked on it, watched it, got busy with work, didn't click on the entire video. The entire video, like I mentioned, is almost 20 minutes, and it's his breakdown and his discussion of how to improve to lower gun laws, and how to lower gun violence while still protecting the Second Amendment. It's incredible. So, Patrick, thank you so much for doing the video, sparking the inspiration for this, as well as thank you for your service, because he is a veteran of the 101st Airborne Air Assault. So, why I'm doing this, what that means to you, what you need to know. He refers to the rifle in that video that most people consider an assault rifle as a semi-automatic weapon. That is what it is. It is not an assault rifle. The term assault rifle didn't even exist until 1994, thanks to President Clinton, when he passed a 10-year ban. See, look at it. I start talking, and people are dropping out. I had 7 or 8 people in here. Now I'm down to 3. So I don't expect this to be a popular show or a popular episode, but I would love to hear your thoughts, get your feedback, and get some discussion going back and forth. So what in that bill that Clinton proposed what qualifies an assault rifle. An assault rifle is a fully automatic weapon or a semi-automatic weapon with a pistol grip and a bayonet mount. However, if it has a pistol grip but no bayonet mount, it is not an assault rifle. What does AR really stand for in AR-15? The AR stands for assault rifle. So over the past 4 or 5 days, I've been doing a lot of research and verifying some information because I want to educate myself, and that way I give you the right information, and I'm not making shit up. You know that I've validated the source. So I came across a study thanks to a friend of mine that there was 2 individuals that were Florida State. One was a Florida State professor, Gary Kleck, and he did a study because he's a strong Democrat, strong anti-gun. So he did a study that measured and polled a number of people that were involved in crimes, involved in gun violence, and sorry, trying to read the comments too here, and also wanted to prove that by individuals that are non-law enforcement, non-military, owning guns, it was a danger to themselves because their weapons could be used against them. So he wrote an article that was published in the Journal of Criminal Law and Criminology. The article is called Armed Resistance to Crime. So his goal for this was to prove that individual that owned a gun, non-military, non-law enforcement, had no business owning a gun because the weapon could be taken from them, used against them while they were drawing it out. His conclusion, out of all the people polled that had come across somebody, so I am the defender. You are the offender. Out of this study, there was a number of weapons used. Nathan, I knew that. Thank you for correcting me. I don't know where that came from. Out of the weapons used, 17.9% were guns used on people during the attack, burglary, robbery, assault, whatever you want to call it. However, the number 2 weapon that was used was a knife at 17.8%. So, according to his study, knives were just as common, just as deadly, just as lethal as guns were. However, not one person in this study could he find and could he prove that had their gun taken from them and used on them. In fact, 75% of the people that carried a gun, drew a gun, the attacker ran off. So that is a hell of a study. Now, you hear numbers thrown all around as far as gun deaths. So let's talk about that. 36,100 deaths last year were associated with a gun. But what they don't tell you, and why I tell you you need to educate yourself and do your own research, is because 21,000 of those were suicide. So out of 36,000 deaths involving a firearm, 21,000 were suicide. Only 11,000 was due to a homicide. So that's something that the mainstream media doesn't tell you. So whether if you get your information from CNN, Fox News, ABC, NBC, whoever, make sure you're double checking and verifying those facts. Also, I know everybody remembers most recently the political race last year for El Jefe, El Presidente. Most of the guns referred to during the debates and throughout that entire campaign, you always heard them refer as automatic weapons. To buy an automatic weapon legally, you have to have a Class 3 license. You know how hard that is to get? You know how much money that costs you up front to get? That's a hell of a lot of money. What do you mean you can't invite people? I don't know that I can invite people. JC, I don't know. I did this on my page so that people would be able to like, share it, and invite people. So, and as you guys watch the numbers up here, the more I talk, the less people are jumping in here. So, while the politicians are referring to an automatic weapon during the debates, during the campaign, they're referring to an automatic weapon. So you pull the trigger, it fires until you release the trigger. That is what an automatic weapon is. A semi-automatic, you pull the trigger once, one bullet comes out. Pull it again, another one. Those are semi-automatic weapons. So what's the process? Oh, hang on. As we're taught in the Army, the gun is not what kills people, it is a piece of equipment, and the killer is the one who operates it. Yes, Nate, thank you so much. That's a great point. I'm getting to that. Just to give you guys an idea of what the process is. There are background checks involved in many states. Len, I'm going to have to circle back around to that question because I can't see it all. There are background checks in many states. Every time I have gone to purchase a firearm, everybody I know, even that doesn't live in the state of Kansas, has had to do a background check. Now, that is law-abiding citizens doing background checks. That is not people who have felonies, know they shouldn't be purchasing a firearm, or are trying to obtain a firearm illegally. Now, last year, well, this is 18, so almost 2 years ago during the presidential debate, you heard a lot of discussion about the gun show loophole. The gun show loophole is most popularly known because you could go to a gun show and not have to do a background check. You didn't have to fill out any paperwork. You didn't have to fill out the NICS form. And you could just walk in, pay cash for a firearm, walk out. Not true. Every gun show you go to, there has to be a firearm background check filled out. It's a federal form, has to go through it. The only exception to that is through private sales. So if I were to sell one of my guns to somebody individually, that's not tracked, that's not reported. That is the only exception. If you go to a gun store, gun shop, whatever you want to call it, you have to fill out a form. If you go to a gun show, you have to fill out a background check and a form. So, I mean, people are focusing on the wrong thing. They're focusing on the guns. The guns are not the problem. We don't have a gun problem. We have a people problem. We have an education problem. That's where the problem lies. And what I love about Patrick's video, I put both the links in the description on this video You can watch the short video, watch the long video. He has the best argument and the best recommendation for fixing the issue we have, not with guns, but with people. So definitely go check that out. As I mentioned, getting your info, educating yourself is important. It's something you have to do. But where you get the info and what their agenda is will vary as well. Because if you watch CNN, Fox News, depending on what agenda Hollywood's pushing at the time with the movies that they're kicking out, they all have an agenda. System flaws and negligence to mental health and people. It needs more attention. JC, you hit it right there. That's a huge issue. So just to give you an idea of how skewed some of the information is, I got an example from Fox News. So a lot of their school shooting, according to Fox News, their school shooting is up. I forget the percentage. I have it written down somewhere, but it's in my notes. I don't know where. School shootings are up according to Fox News. What they're not telling you how they get those numbers is any suicide that happens on school property goes towards that number. Any gang violence that happens on or off property goes towards that number. If it happens in a parking lot, if it happens after hours, like I referenced with the gangs, if a student of that school gets involved in a gun crime, that counts as a school shooting and school violence. So the numbers are very skewed in their favor. You have to be careful where to go. Like I mentioned, we're focusing on the wrong issue. Lynn, that's a great question. Why do we hurt? I don't have an answer for that. Like I said, this is more of a people issue and not a gun issue. But we're focusing on law-abiding citizens. Here's an example. There was an article written yesterday in the Daily Wire. Daily Wire is published in Illinois. Here's the caption, or here's the headline of that article. All semi-autos are to be removed from homes. So all semi-automatics in this city are to be removed from the homes, or they face up to $1,000 fine per day that weapon remains in the home. So why is this happening? Why are they concentrating on law-abiding citizens and not criminals? Law-abiding citizens are the easy target. I read the story, I read the article, I read both of the court cases that were involved. There was about 20 to 30% facts involved in those cases. The remainder was emotion. Just like in my business with car sales, emotion is what sells. You sell on emotion. That's why they recommend you not make a decision based on emotion. I sell on emotion, but you have to remove emotion from the situation. And that's what you have to keep in mind, is they are targeting law-abiding citizens. They aren't targeting criminals. They aren't targeting gang members. They aren't targeting people that have a history of gun violence and don't own guns legally. They are concentrating on us, the law-abiding citizen. And that's infringement on the Second Amendment. I don't know how these states are able to do that. Exactly. That leads to my next point, JC. So great timing. Thank you. Second Amendment is a right. It's an inalienable right. Now, the argument with that is people say, well, when our founding fathers created this, they were using muskets, not semi-automatic weapons and assault rifles. If you don't think that our forefathers and our founding fathers knew the technology would change with weapons and with rifles, in their time, they went from using a blunderbuss that was just a gun with a flintlock pistol, just with a big open end on it, and they could stuff it with whatever they want, load it up and fire, and it would just shoot a projectile at anybody, to during the Revolutionary War, instead of just a musket ball that the British used, the American rifle had rifling. It was twisting. That's why it wasn't a musket. It was a rifle. It had the rifling in there for accuracy. And they were the first ones that we know of to use guerrilla tactics before there was even a name for it. Because before that, this is the Revolutionary War. They're used to lining up and taking aim and firing 25, 30 yards from each other. What moron does that? The Americans were the first ones to use guerrilla tactics and do sneak attacks and take out the officers leading, not just pointing weapons at each other and opening fire. So there's two examples right there. Now, could they have foreseen the internet, smartphones, Google? No, absolutely not. They couldn't have foreseen that. It's one of those things they can't see. But for you to say the founding fathers couldn't see into the future that the technology and the weapons would change when it changed in their generation, I don't buy that. So just to wrap this up, I'm going to cover the 4 areas, because what's the solution? I don't know what the solution is. I don't have it yet. I am still researching. I'm still looking. I'm not going to jump the gun like I did initially after seeing Patrick's video. So here's the 4 areas that he came up with, he recommended, that we can improve on. The number 1 is background checks, making them universal. Not only at gun locations, gun stores and gun shows, but through private party sales as well. Second one was waiting periods, because like I mentioned, out of the 36,000 gun deaths last year, 21,000 of those were suicide. How many of those were based on emotion? Because people don't know how to handle emotion. They go buy a gun, or they take some pills and just end it. What would be the time frame that they calm down? Would it be 6 hours, 6 days? Who knows? So that waiting period, I could definitely see that. The ease of buying a gun. This is really what sparked the interest in me to do this video, because this I didn't really like that he did, because he made it seem like anybody could go buy a gun. He made it seem like he shouldn't be buying a gun, because it took him 19 minutes. Well, with his name, I'm sure. My name, Matt Johnson. It takes me a lot longer than 19 minutes the few times I've gone to purchase a firearm. It takes a lot longer. But that was the one thing I didn't like, was his ease of buying a gun. Finally was the age of buying a gun. What he covers in the video is the shotguns, long rifles can be purchased at 18, but a handgun is 21, while drinking is 21. Do we change the age? At that point, if you change the age, do you also change the age of people joining the military to 21? Because you can sign up to serve and die for your country, but you can't drink legally. There's a give and a take. He has come the closest with finding a more comparable solution than what it is right now. And For that, I applaud him. I thank him. And Lynn, you're right. It can also save a life, not take one. That was mentioned in the article that was done by this Democratic Florida State professor, and he hated to publish this article because he was so anti-gun. He wanted to set out to prove that gun ownership was bad, guns were bad, and people didn't know how to use them. And it backfired, but thankfully his integrity wouldn't allow him to misrepresent the facts in the survey that he found out. And David, you're right. That's another problem. A gun can be purchased at the age of 10, especially on the streets. Patrick mentions that in his video that he went with a friend at 16 to buy a gun. Somebody selling one under a bridge. So we're focusing on the wrong issue. It's not guns that are the problem. Hang on. Saying guns are the problem and guns kill people is like saying this spoon makes me fat. There's no different. What makes you fat is you eat like shit, you don't work out, and you don't educate yourself on what's good, what's bad, what to eat, what not to eat, when to eat it. It's all about education, making informed decisions, doing your own research. I hope this has helped. I will go back and read through these because some of you wrote some comments. I can't see them all on the screen, but I really want to hear your comments. I really want to hear your feedback. Do you have recommendations? Do you have a solution? Am I getting something wrong? I don't ask for comments and feedback to not get it. I want to engage with you guys. Sorry, getting a phone call. I want to engage with you guys. I want to go back and forth and have a discussion. If I'm wrong, educate me. Let me know. Let me know you found this or you read this. I would love to hear that. I would love to go back and forth with you. So make sure you guys like this, share this out. I'm also going to upload this to my YouTube page, so make sure you like and subscribe there. Let's get some discussion going. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. I look forward to interacting with you guys as well. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. This video ran a lot longer than I anticipated it doing, but I really wanted to cover a lot. So thank you guys for joining me for episode 2 of Throat Punch Thursday. I'll see y'all next week.